Hi, welcome to my channel, Second PUC Accountancy, Learn, Understand and Excel. Today, we are going to see Chapter 1, Partnership Accounts Basic Concepts, the preparation of Profit and Loss Appropriation Account. First, let's see what is the Profit and Loss Appropriation Account. This account comes for 6 marks and it's a very important question. Now, what is this Profit and Loss Appropriation Account? We all know what is a Profit and Loss account, which we have prepared in the first year. That is the Profit and Loss account, which is prepared to find out the profits and losses of the firm. Now, what is this Profit and Loss Appropriation Account? The Profit and Loss Appropriation Account is an extension of the Profit and Loss account. And this account is prepared to show the net profit which has been prepared under the Profit and Loss account, how this net profit is distributed or appropriated among the partners. So whatever profit or loss we have calculated under the Profit and Loss account is now distributed to the partners, and therefore this Profit and Loss Appropriation account is being prepared. Now this account generally starts with the net profit, that is the net profit which has been derived under the Profit and Loss account, and it starts with that net profit, and this net profit is being distributed or adjusted for various incomes and expenses of the firm, like for example salary which has to be paid for the partner, which will be an expenses for the firm, or commission which is to be paid for a partner, interest on capital which has to be paid by the firm to the partner. All these are the expenses, and it can also has to receive interest on drawings. If any partner makes drawings, if the partnership deed says they have to pay interest on drawings, then this will be a income for the firm. So therefore, a partnership firm has to make all these adjustments through this Profit and Loss Appropriation account and distribute the profits. And the profit and loss which has been left over after adjusting all these adjustments is lastly transferred to the partners' capital accounts. So now let us see how the profits and losses are being distributed to the partners in the partnership firm. We have already seen that in the partnership deed, they have to mention how the profits and losses have to be distributed. So if in case the partnership deed gives the ratio in which the profits and losses have to be shared, then in that case, the profit and loss will be distributed or shared among the partners in that agreed ratio. If it is not mentioned in the partnership deed, then in that case, in the absence of partnership deed, they share all the profits and losses equally among the partners. So this is how the profits or losses in the Profit and Loss Appropriation account will be distributed to the partners, and it will be transferred to the partners' capital account. So now next we'll see the format of Profit and Loss Appropriation account. It is again the simple format like a profit and loss account. We have debit and credit side, and it is named as Profit and Loss Appropriation account. It has two sides. On the debit side, it is particulars and amount, and on the credit side, again, you have particulars and amount. Now, as we have already seen, this account starts with a net profit. So therefore, on the credit side, we have to record all the profits and incomes, and the debit side, we record all the expenses and losses. So when there is a net profit, we bring down the net profit on the credit side. Okay, so this will be the net profit. We write it as by profit and loss account. That is nothing but the net profit which is being brought down from the profit and loss account before distribution. And if there is any interest on drawings to be collected from a partner, since it is an income for the firm, it appears on the credit side. So by interest on drawings, whichever partner has to pay the interest will be written, and the total amount is written on the outer column. These are the incomes which has to be recorded on the credit side of profit and loss appropriation account. Now there will be certain expenses that the firm has to meet. Now what are these expenses or the adjustments that has to be made? First, we have interest on capital. So the firm has to pay interest on the capital which has been made by the partner. So it's an expenses for the firm. So therefore it appears on the debit side of profit and loss appropriation account. So any partner, whichever partner we are paying the interest, that will be recorded in the inner column, and the total amount is recorded in the outer column. So that is the total interest on capital. Next, if the firm has to pay any commission to the partner, again it is an expenses for the firm. So therefore it appears on the debit side of profit and loss appropriation account as that particular partner's commission account. So the commission will be paid here on the debit side. Similarly, if there is any salary that has to be paid to the partner by the firm, again it's an expenses for the firm. So it appears on the debit side as two partners salary account, whichever partner the salary has to be paid. Next, the total. We have, that's all, the expenses on the debit side and incomes on the credit side. Okay, once it is done, get the highest total. That is, it can be debit balance or credit balance. So get the total, and when it is a profit, okay, which means the credit side, that is incomes are greater than the expenses. The credit side is greater than the debit side, then it will be a profit. So the balancing figure should be written on the debit side as to profit transferred to the partner's capital account. So the profit what you derive at the end will be distributed to the partners, and it should be transferred to their partners, respective partners' capital account. So that will be recorded on the debit side. Okay, it is a credit balance for them as the incomes are greater. So if it is a loss in the profit and loss appropriation account, which means that the expenses are greater than the incomes. The debit side is greater than the credit side. So this becomes a loss. The loss will be transferred again to the partner's capital account by loss transferred to partner's capital account. So here the profit or loss, this should be shared to the partner's capital account in the profit sharing ratio. Now this profit sharing ratio, as we have already discussed, it can be shared between the partners A. Say for example there are two partners A and B. It can be shared according to the agreed ratio, or if the ratio is not given, the profit will be shared equally. Similarly, the loss has to be distributed to the partners in the agreed ratio, or it will be shared equally among them. Now let's see how to write a journal entry to close this profit and loss appropriation account. So just take an example of the account what we had already prepared, the profit and loss appropriation account, and this is the account what we had prepared. On the debit side all expenses and credit side all incomes. So here we have already recorded the incomes and the expenses, and we have derived at profit, and if it is loss, it is recorded on the credit side. Now with the help of this, we are going to write a journal entry. Now what will be the journal entry if the firm or gets profit? So see here, as per the account, it is profit and loss appropriation account is debited with the partner's capital account. So if it is profit, the profit and loss appropriation account is debited to the partner's capital account. So the journal entry will be profit and loss appropriation account debit to partner's capital account, being profits transferred to partner's capital account. So if it is loss, the entry is made on the credit side, which means the profit and loss appropriation account is credited, okay, to the partner's capital account. So if it is loss, the journal entry will be partner's capital account is debited to profit and loss appropriation account. So the loss is transferred to the partner's capital account. So these are the two important journal entries we have to learn to close the profit and loss appropriation account. This can be asked as a 2-mark question. Any journal entry can be asked as a 2-mark question. So this is a very important topic. In the next class, let's see how to prepare profit and loss appropriation account with a particular sum. Thank you.